My whole youth was fishing. When I lived on the council estate at Wesley Avenue, I'd have a seat box and a rod holdall, and I'd run the gauntlet. And out of nowhere, loads of lights have come on. Guys are jumping fences. They've got Rottweiler dogs. I've reeled a rod in there. On the end, it is a Tropicana boilie, yaw nicked. In come this thing that I could not believe it. It was this colour, and it was enormous. And I said to Steve, "What do you put on that then?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Cough." I said, "You've caught a 60-pounder out of Cassienne." And honest to God, Steve said, "I can't put a weight on it, mate." This fish was something else. Shut the gate, crash, and it's still there. And I'm thinking, you've got about a minute to take this bread, and I'm going to be a British record holder, like, you know. You're not getting any younger. I'm 58. I'm 59 next month. I still want to be actively chasing carp, and I mean chasing them till I actually drop down dead, maybe on my bed chair, maybe I hope.
Is that model on you?
That is me and my missus, yeah. I'm the one with the long dark hair. Got a cute ass. In the lockdown, I even bought myself an exercise bike, which is out there, and I was on it every single day, mate. When I started on it, it was 5 minutes. By the time I finished, I'm doing nearly an hour, and it's not bothering me. I mean, I've always felt quite healthy, if not super fit, which I'm not, but that shows 5 minutes and you're like, oh, I can't get off here. Within 6 weeks, you're doing nearly an hour.
Ian, we are in your home, surrounded by the trappings of a career spent carp fishing. And I do wonder what it would have been like, your fishing that is, if you hadn't have gone down the professional route.
Well, I'd have probably fished a lot more for myself instead of for other people, to be honest with you. But I've loved it, you know. I'm very lucky to have a career, should we call it, in something it pours out of me. I just love fishing. Can't imagine not going fishing, Rich.
And quite often I feel awkward in these interviews talking to people about their, in inverted commas, career, but you have had a career.
Yep.
This is a genuine career.
Yep.
And was that something that you decided one day that you're going to do?
No, it sort of fell into it really. You know, I've done, when I was a youngster, work was never hard to find. So I worked from warehouses to Alix plating, spraying. And I wanted to go fishing more and more and more and more and more. So I started working with, on a building site, week on, week off, and going fishing in my week off. It worked at the time for where we lived, and I was earning enough money on the building site in them days. And it just went from there. Like, I started making pop-ups and lead, you know, should we call them ledger weights in the time, for anglers on the bank to bolster my wages. So it just sort of stumbled into it really, and got at right time, right place.
So actually we could have been thinking about you as a pioneering maker of tackle and bait rather than a sort of career angler.
Yep, could have been. Well, that led me into Heathrow, which was in the bait world. You know, it was early days then, and we were quite innovative as a small company. So yeah, it could have been. You know, there was 2 roads to go down, wasn't it? You know, I spent a great many years making bait, and then decided to go fishing again for myself. I
don't want to rush into the Heathrow side of things because there is a fair bit to cover, I think, there.
Yeah.
But let's take us back to, I guess, when you were serious about carp fishing, when you first became serious about carp fishing, what was the world like?
Well, it was a lot less crowded. The roads had less cars on, but the lakes, all joking aside, the lakes, you could fish properly. You know, I was a kid. Let's call it. I was early 20s, drinking a lot, fraternising in the pubs a lot. But I loved the weekends. For me, boom. I fished Burfield when I was like 19 years of age, you know, not for carp, for the tench and bream, because I gradually found my way into carp fishing. I fished for everything as a child, which does stand you in good stead later in life for your carp fishing, with little ideas and the way you treat and the way you feed. So it was a lot less crowded, certainly a lot less big fish around. You look at it nowadays, it's fantastic. It's never been better. And yet I hear people saying the old days were better. No, they weren't. You know, we loved it only because of the crowd. You were making your own bits and bobs. It was great. The crowd I fished with, we all learnt together, taught each other really.
And growing up where you did, which is relatively local to where we are now, would have been in the considerable shadow of Richie McDonald, presumably.
Richie was up there, like, you know, and I remember the first time I walked in the house, I'd never met Richie, and he just got a job in House of Angling Centre. I nearly fell over when I went in there and saw him, you know, this tiny little man, but he was a giant. You know, he could catch them. Bear in mind, in them days, there wasn't many big fish, like we've just said, but he would still be catching the big fish. Like, you know, it was like, God, you know, just mental. The first time I met Rob Mailing at Farlow's any method trout fishing, which was, you know, but again, I'm looking at him thinking, that's Rob Mailing. That's Rob Mailing, you know, God. Yeah, it was great. They were quite iconic people to me, and them that I'll make your ears bleed with the amount of names I could give out that I now know, but you were looking up to them massively, like, to progress in your own fishing, like, you know.
And I guess Rob's not that much older than you, so was it that he'd progressed onto the kind of published scene quicker?
I think so, yeah. I mean, he obviously was carp fishing more seriously than I was at that time. You know, I'd fished for barbel, tench. My whole youth was fishing. When I lived on the council estate at Wesley Avenue, I'd have a seat box and a rod holdall, and I'd run the gauntlet to go to the bus stop, you know, Tosser going fishing again, where you going? You know, they're on. But later in life, if we jump forward a great many years, just briefly, I've met all them lads again, and they now go fishing. But because I've done it so young, and I stayed with it, and I loved it, this is what's led me to be, you know, I've had a job out of it, and they're so jealous now that they're working in warehouses, and you're like, yeah.